welcome everybody to tonight's episode of Dropping the Hammer. I'm your host, Warhammer. We're on TikTok. We're on, I forget, we're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, and we're on Facebook. So I'm hitting 4 of the social medias that I, set up. Instagram would be the last one that I'm trying to set up. I can't get all of them linked to the same platform or whatever until I pay a little more money and my streaming service, gets a little more cut. But we just recently got monetized, so we're not there yet. But that's the goal. We're getting everything linked up right now. I've got my camera on my phone, and then I've got my webcam. So I'm constantly looking up and down, so I do apologize. I'll be reading all the comments that I get on TikTok or even on online. So want to welcome all you Drangir and all you Shield Maidens to this week's episode of Dropping the Hammer. So before anybody freaks out, I know I kind of put a little mental health status low. That was more for the video gamers. They would understand that statement, what's going on. Just man, your boy's been going through some stuff. Looks like we do have a comment from my buddy Greg, ex-bandmate. We were in we were in a band called Dead End Drive back in the day. So yeah, bro, as soon as I can, I'll do what I can to help a brother out. Got to get my account taken care of. Hit me up here and there. Can always see your posts. So yeah, that was my guitarist from a band called Dead End Drive. I was the weird bass player in the corner, slapping the bass big time, oh, what was that, 10 years ago at least. I know I've got some pictures up on my Facebook. I know they're not attached to anything else, but it's got me and a couple of my bandmates. Yeah, Greg says at least 10 years. He says he was like 21. He's 34. So yeah, over 10 years. I want to welcome everybody on the TikTok, everybody that's come in, even if you've come in just to say hi and leave. Welcome to the show. Be sure to hammer that like button, share this with your friends, follow me on all platforms. Yes, Greg, we are getting old. We are getting old. But first, I know I kind of started off with the mental health, but I want to start off with something that is helping with my mental health. A couple months ago, I joined basically a Crystal of the Month club from Aura Bloom, and they've been sending me, some really cool stuff. This month, it was it was weird because it every month they've been nailing it. The first one was Labradorite, the second one was the bracelet, the third one was my clear quartz. But each time it's a stone, it's a gem that I'm in love with. Either I already knew about it or it's something that I'm learning, and it's still a fascination because they're nailing it every time. My buddy says he finds a lot of quartz. Absolutely, some big clear quartz. I'll take it. Jax, how you doing, bud? But my camera doesn't really show too well. I know I'm showing 2 different cameras, but this one is really cool. I think. And now they're calling this the Septarian Palm Stone for creativity, energy, nurturing, patience, and tolerance. It's for the root chakra. So, like I've said, every one of these gems that has been sent to me, um, it's almost like they're stacking in a way to help clear blockages and things like that. Um, Mark, what's up? Welcome to the show. Shaw Marie, hey, how you doing? Um, but I'm going to read this real quick. Septarian, aka Dragonstone, is a gray limestone rock with cracks and cavities that have been filled naturally with calcite, barite, aragonite, and other minerals. These cracks and cavities of this rock are named the septaria, which comes from the Latin word septum, which means partition. Malagasy legend, not sure how that's pronounced, says that septarian stones were fossilized remains of dragons. Even though this is only a legend, formation theories propose that volcanic activity killed sea life and left the remains on the seabed. Septarian is good for endurance, patience, and tolerance. It is said to assist with the neo-linguistic programming, public speaking, and sound therapy. It builds awareness of the environment in crystal energy work. Septarian is associated with the root chakra and is powerful grounding stone that wakes up the connections we have to Mother Earth and the nurturing creative energy she provides. Sorry, I'm not good at public speaking, but I just said this was for speaking and creativeness. So, like, you know, I'm not doing any of these things on purpose, but they're just showing up in my life. Sorry, I'm just checking out the bruising that I still have from my match a week ago. I can't really see it. I can't lick my elbow. Uh, Mark says he's purchased so many stones and crystals over the years and wanted to go to semi-local mines and mine local crystals and stones. Yeah, that's one way to do it. You're weird, Greg. Um, but I kind of like the sleuthing buckets with my daughter, so I kind of want to get a couple buckets and a water trough and stuff like that, and you know. Uh, it's more for my sister, I mean, not my sister, my daughter, excuse me, sifting with my daughter. That's you know that's what I plan to do. But it, all these stones are really, it's like they're stacking in a way that is helping me build, helping me grow. And I'm not saying they're magic or anything like that, but it's I feel more focused. Like I've told you, I'm part of the Silver Lining Ambassador Club, where I didn't wear it today. I just washed it, but it's crystal and gem infused clothing. I almost wore it today, but my basket of clean clothes is right here. Ooh, static. But I mean, the Silver Lining. So, like I've said before, this is carnelian and lapis lazuli in the inks and everything. Um, I'm not really talking to nobody, but you know, thank you for the invite. Um, Someone said I wasn't talking to anybody. I understand I may not have had anybody in the live at the time, but I've got multiple cameras going. I'm trying to make this a little more seamless to where um, it's all in one, but I don't have the funds right now. On top of that, I was having computer problems today. I thought my graphics card went out and my computer wouldn't even boot up. I was on it earlier today, and then it stopped. It's bothered me. I don't really need them for close up stuff, but you know, it's all these electronics are malfunctioning around me. It seems recently. I had my debit card information stolen somehow, and my account got locked out. So right here just a couple of days ago, I don't know how I got hacked, but I had to get a new debit card. So the new debit card's in the mail. um it's hard to it's hard to fix a van that you hit a deer and need a headlight, when you don't have a debit card. I know it's all just it seems really weird and conveniently timed because I'm very, very mindful about where I put my account online and stuff like that. Um, so I'm not ordering stuff. I don't order stuff from TikTok. I don't order stuff from Temu. I don't order stuff from too many places. But it was I called my insurance company, and I'm not sure if I got a hold of my insurance company because they transferred me to somebody, and it I gave too much information apparently, and that's the only time I've felt odd about giving the information. Couldn't understand, but I figured if my insurance company was transferring me, that I should have been able to trust them. I should have just hung up the phone and not, because they weren't even working on my insurance claim. So again, I'm not sure who I talked to on the phone, but it doesn't matter. I'm willing to say I might have been the one who opened the door, but um, right at Thanksgiving time, right before Christmas, this is the worst time to have your account frozen and turned off, deactivated, anything like that. So again, whatever. But just to add to the van problems, um, I don't have a headlight. I don't have a washer fluid tank. It doesn't pump water. So I mean, if there's anything on the windshield, I can't um, clean the windshield. It's a safety hazard at that point. But I just don't have the money to fix it. There, when my computer was going down a couple hours ago, I was this close to posting my Cash App and just saying, "Hey, if anybody wants to be a anonymous benefactor, and you know anybody wants to help send some money, here's my Cash App." But um, I'm not even sure what my computer decided to do, but all of a sudden it started working again. So I didn't post anything. My boy says he'll buy me a brand new everything, whatever I need. Um, yeah, we'll have to make a list, because there's definitely some things I need, but you know, what do I really want? That's more. Uh, you know, I'm working on several things. It's just slow, man. It's very slow. This month, last month was rebuilding. This month was, it slipped by. I'm not gonna lie. No, sir, I do not want a Lamborghini. I doubt I could fit properly in it. I'm not a fancy car guy. No Guineas, no Porsches, no Aston Martins. they don't they don't make square body trucks anymore. Well, Jax, I'll get the wood as soon as I can. I just need another. The van still works. I just can't drive at night really. If I drive faster than 65, the headlight really starts to shake and I can't really see. Um, I mean, there's not too much chat to join. You're posting messages. That's kind of it, brother. um, I mean, it's doesn't matter where you're watching me from. Yeah, YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble, they all get posted into the same place. The TikTok is the only one where I've got to read my phone. So, um, I mean, a 350, that seems like too much truck. I miss the Rangers, I miss the Dakotas, I miss the S10s, you know. Yes, I know. That's why I'm trying to engage to you. Uh, you know, I'll have to look around, but I am not picky. They're all go-karts to me, so anything I can put my daughter in, having the back seat and having that, like, that's literally the um yeah, no, not from there. But yeah, just that's really my only goal is having a seat for my daughter. Um, hopefully there's luggage space, some type of cargo area, some type of something that I can, you know, pack my hammer in. My hammer's not small. Um, I'm not picky. I've driven small cars, I've driven vans, I've driven a dually, you know. They'll all get you point A to point B, but it's all the same. As long as my daughter's got her spot, and that's all she cares about. That's all I care about, you know. I know I had plans for doing like a Viking show. Like, I wanted to say, different words and, you know, give a Viking tutorial on how much impact the Vikings had in our everyday society. Um, I'm like I said, I'm just struggling. I'm just struggling. Um, Went to Thanksgiving with my parents, and that was nice. It was my parents and my daughter and I. It was four of us. The next day, I went to Friendsgiving and was surrounded by people and really struggled. Um, I it's not really around the holidays. I know Christmas is my worst, but it's not usually around Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving because I love to eat, I love to cook, but um, something about this year, you know. Jack says, Warhammer, your Viking brother, uh, Ironbelly got attacked by Mike Grizzly, Psycho, and King Violent. You're probably going to have to call the Sons of Plunder back to fight. Um, I I I watched the brutality. I felt my Viking rage well up inside of me, and it took all I could do not to set sail immediately after I saw that video today. Um, the Sons of Plunder Uh, Also, Warhammer will be back to SWF very soon. Not able to make this December show on the 20th, but I'll be in Marshall, Texas, defending my digital media title at League of Lions Winter Warfare. Sorry, lost my train of thought, but I will be back at SWF very soon. And Iron Belly and I will be setting things straight with the ale house, and even if Grizzly intervenes or wants to say something, definitely got beef with Grizzly. So he and I've feuded the entire time I've been at SWF, so no love lost between the two of us. So he's gonna have to answer some questions for sure. So I will say next week I will be wrestling in Detroit, Texas. The Sons of Plunder will be in full force. Our girl Viking Queen, Valkyrie, will be back. She's been on kind of a medical leave. She was in a car wreck and fractured a vertebrae in her back. So we're taking it very slowly with her, but this will be the first time the Sons of Plunder have been together in full force in quite a while. So definitely happy to be back. Like I said, we will be in Detroit, Texas, right outside of Paris. I'm not too familiar with the area, but we will be doing another biker benefit for the Cossacks. So be another good chance for us to push our beard oils. We have two different scents. We have Raiders Camp, which has done very well, and our new scent, Mead Hall, which strangely it's it's almost a 50-50. We have people that love the Raiders Camp, and then we've got people that love the Mead Hall. So it's definitely we're definitely doing something. The next step, we are in talks of either doing a beard wash or maybe a beard balm. They'll all be the same scent, so we're not doing anything different scents first. We're doing the same, just to make things easier. But it's the products we're using already. We might as well, use it, lean into it. My boy Storm, Aaron Storm, joined the channel. What's up? Sorry, lost my train of thought. But no, we're going really well with the beard stuff. So we're kind of leaning into it. So we're experimenting with some things. Beard wash, easy. Beard oil, easy. Beard balm, oil, or excuse me, also easy. It's using the same essential ingredients for the most part, and it just helps. Um, it's been really it's been our biggest seller. Two big ugly hairy guys, we know beards, so we're just pointing to guys, hey, you got a beard, come smell this, and that's usually all it takes. Once they smell the beard oil, they're hooked. So I think if we're able to get you know balms and a beard wash on our table, I think that'll definitely help kind of set us apart from everything. I mean, it made me feel real good the one time I sold, I don't know, maybe 10 bottles just to the locker room, had the entire locker room smelling like Sons of Plunder. It was amazing. one live stream you talked about like everyone who was on your team, and you said there was a girl, and you said that there was a man. The boy you should get, the boy, then you should do a 6-man tag, the boy and you and Iron Valley versus. I think you were talking about our boy JJ. Um, we haven't really worked on his Viking gimmick, but he's also part of the Sons of Plunder. Um, definitely we can do a 6-man tag. We sadly we're not the ones doing the booking, but you know, all we need to do is be told uh how many Vikings to bring, and that's it. Most of the time I'm just told one or two Vikings, so that's me and Iron Belly. When we can, we bring Natasha in, and she's kind of the we're trying to bring her more in and use her more than just a valet. She did help us win the tag team titles in Marshall, Texas. Her Venom Mist, something we were working on, something she is now perfected. So it's something she can continue using. We've even been looking up recipes that the pros are using to make it stain, like when Rhea got turned blue. That's kind of what we're looking for something to really stick when the mist hits. It's one thing to see it in the light, see it on the camera, but to have something visibly stuck, that's the ultimate goal. That's what we were going for. So when we're able to get that, that's the plan. But I know in there's a Smurf on the loose. Exists to Inspire Wrestling. I know they're kind of geared up as the family affiliated, but in talks with them, they were modeling my group in essence, so we could feud together. It's just smart business. Maximizing a team like that, having like I was always trying to do 5 people, on your roster. It doesn't matter. Hey, I can cycle people out. It's not so much the free bird rule, but so such and such is injured, but I can still bring in another Viking, and he can, essentially play a different role, but keep the Viking ambiance going. That's what I was going for. Kind of the Wyatt Six, but more Viking, more I was trying to monopolize a card. You need a tag team, got it. You need a giant guy, I've got a giant guy. You need a female, I've got a female. That way, all of my guys could work, could eat, could wrestle. We don't do it for ourselves; we do it for everybody else. uh, my buddy Jack says the Vikings suck. You talking the football team? Because I know he's not talking about Sons of Plunder. He's one of our biggest fans. He got a giant hammer made for him the other day. The Viking six. I understand now. Six, the number. Um, yeah. Um, it was something like that. I just wanted to be able to just when we show up and once we're in gear sitting around a table, it's something you're going to walk into a room and you're going to go, oh, these guys, I believe these guys are Vikings. I believe they are who they say they are, professional wrestlers. Yes. I have a hard time when people have 2 and 3 names because you start losing gimmicks. Okay, you're Joe such and such. You're Timmy Timmy, I don't know what, I'm not saying they're wrong. I just have a hard time pushing a gimmick when I don't know who you are. No, my buddy Aaron Storm, no, he's different. I kind of helped in his training. I didn't do much. He didn't need it. All I did was kind of told him and his tag team partner at the time to pick a name and start coming up with some combo things because they were going to be a tag team. The only thing I told them to do was in their entrance when they backflipped, and instead of landing, they needed to do a superhero pose. That to me, that's the only thing I did. I'm honored that you say that, Storm. I'm going to humbly disagree. All I did was add a little water. You hit the ground running. So you and Keelix needed nothing, but love you too, brother. um, I I would stand back and watch these two most of the time just because they could be something if we weren't in small town Texas, if maybe if they were in Dallas, maybe if they were in Houston or Austin, someplace where W is common. These guys right here, the Storm Chasers, were they had the fans, they brought them in. When they broke up, everything changed. It was big, but watching from the conception, watching from the birth, that was something fun. I will tell you guys, watching y'all blossom has been fun. I know one of the things I wanted to do, I was gonna play my first match. I was gonna do a watch party and let everybody watch my first match with me and just show how much I've changed, show how much I've evolved. I mean, even my look alone. When I started, the beard had to be kept short. I couldn't have mohawks. I didn't have the mohawk, so I just shaved my head. So it was difficult to portray a Viking that way. But even in my first professional promo pictures, like even that alone, going to my latest promo pictures, it is night and day difference. And my body didn't change. I grew a beard and I cut mohawks, but everything else around me was different. My hammer ended up changing. I've got a cloak now. I've got a mask. I've got, different clothing. Storm not going to the ceremony, but I wish I could go, but I'll see you on the 20th. Catch you in the locker room. Forgot where I was at. Forgot what I was at, but bam. Anyway, well, we'll just keep going. Not going to the League of Lions award ceremony this year. This first year in a long time that I've not been able to go. Every year I've gone. I'm actually booked. This is the same weekend as the show in Detroit. I normally don't take extra bookings this late, but this is another kind of a benefit show. And right before the holidays, I'm glad to help out, but now I'm actually needing the money. I got to buy a new headlight. um, and a new washer tank. And that's not even including any structural pieces or, you know, any of the body pieces. I know I'm going to go to a junkyard, see what I can pull off. These vans common in a junkyard, but most of them are going to have front end damage. So I am afraid of pulling a headlight from a junkyard because it's already going to be, I don't know if it's calcified. I don't know if that's the word to call it, yellow, tarnished. Uh, the ambering that happens on older model vehicles, the headlights, they just start to turn yellow and fog up. My headlights weren't that good, but which do you know which is better, putting in two brand new ones or finding a junkyard one and then ending up getting two new ones later on? uh, Again, it's all budget conscious, right before the holidays. But maybe if I'm a good boy for Christmas, I'll get a headlight for Christmas underneath the tree. I don't know. uh like my buddy Greg says, I need a whole new van, need a whole new vehicle. Still works, but it is going down. It did not like smacking that deer at 75. I didn't like smacking the deer at 75, obviously, but it's like the other day I started it up and I don't know if the serpentine belt wasn't working, but there was no power steering and there were lights and alarms going off. So all I did was back up, put it right back into the garage, turned it off. I turned it right back on and everything started working again. But, I, I don't know what's up. And that's what I was saying, electronics are just malfunctioning. I don't know if it's all connected. I don't know if it's because Mercury's in Gatorade or Sagittarius is in the microwave or any of that stuff. Because, that's what we've been talking about recently. Trying to level up, trying to make things better. I know I definitely had a setback this last week, but I don't know how to pull myself out of it because the things I used to do don't have the appeal anymore. Like I'm playing video games and I'm having a hard time playing a video game. I started playing No Man's Sky. I don't know if anybody's played that, but just a rough estimate, there's last I 18 quadrillion planets to find. To me, that sandbox is a little too big, um, because I don't have clear defined quests. You do have quests, but they're not as strict. This game is massive, and it you know it's the only thing I've got that's even a current game. I know having access to PlayStation Game Pass, I was uh, Fortnite has now downloaded on my PlayStation. I've never played it. And also Call of Duty, one of the Call of Duties is now on my PlayStation. I've never played it. So if anybody wants to play these games and teach me how to play, just, send me a message. Um, I, I don't really like first person shooters in battle royale settings and things like that. I'm more in the co-op games. So let's play Halo where we try to save the world, um, started way back on Super C and Contra, playing Gauntlet and things like that with my father. So we were always working together. So I don't really care for battle royale games where we're Mortal Kombat, and Tekken, and whatnot, button mashers and things like that. I don't play sports games, so I don't play the UFC or the wrestling 2K or Madden anything. So I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. I know I keep looking down at TikTok. Nobody's watching on TikTok anymore. Um, this being right after the holidays, everybody's done with company. Everybody's done with hearing other people and stay stuff like that. So just thank you for stopping by. I don't want to fill this with too much you know negativity, but uh, I am on the recovery. I'm on the mend. Not sure what happened, but sometimes I got to get lost in the woods for a little bit before I come back and make it okay. So, like I said, thanks everybody for tuning in. Try to get on TikTok. Still hitting my platforms like normal. So, like I said at the beginning of this, be sure to hammer that like button, share this with your friends, and tune in next week. We'll do a post match breakdown. Um, yeah, and we'll talk more about wrestling. Good night, everybody. Do this now, and then we're off on this.